So maybe another light above. Okay. Namaste. Welcome again to the Recovery Cafe. And again to express gratitude to the cafe for making this possible. This moment is much deeper and fuller and more full of time than you may think. The cafe's been here for quite a while. So this moment is right at the edge of so many wonderful services that the cafe has provided to this community, people of this community, people in recovery. Since 2005, deep gratitude to the cafe and to those people who make it possible, who are the staff who helped make this recording possible at all. Great appreciation for that. And also appreciation to the lineage of teachers who have also enabled this practice to continue over the centuries. We're going to be working, one thing I should mention, for those of you who would like to make a donation to the cafe, you can certainly do that for this time, this space. Go onto the website and find the link to making donations possible. We're going to be working on extensions today. Extensions are a unique asana in Vinyasa Yoga that focuses on just the spine. Just the spine from the base of the skull, where the spine comes into the sacrum. The natural curve of the spine, you may be familiar with it. If you begin with your low back, the curve is kind of in this shape. When you go to your middle of your back, the thoracic spine, the curve is in the opposite direction. When you go to the cervical spine, very similar curve as a lumbar spine. In extension, we want to flatten those curves. By flattening the curves, we create more space between the vertebrae for the discs to move and to be more free. This allows the spine to last longer. If you notice your seated form right now, if your back has collapsed, and what you have done is you've allowed that lumbar curve to flatten. When you sit back up again and rock your pelvis forward, you've allowed the lumbar curve to return to its normal form. You drop back, it goes the other way. This is the source of so many back problems that we have, because we don't have that natural lumbar curve because we sit like this all the time, and we allow the lumbar curve to kind of come out of a natural alignment. Now the opposite happens when we get to the thoracic spine. Because we sit like this, the chest collapses, and we also round the thoracic spine. So as you get older, you may see people kind of walking around like this, sticking the chin out, and their whole back is rounded, shoulders on down. And so to correct that, we kind of crunch the neck, stick the chin out, and think I'm looking straight forward, but now I've really exaggerated and damaged the spine. We're going to work on bringing the skill into our practice to be able to flatten these curves. And the muscles that we use to do that are what keeps the spine healthy. So as we begin, I want to focus on our posture and our awareness of the way we are sitting. It's very important as we become aware of the pelvis that we're sitting equally on both sides. Just let your awareness go to your pelvis and noticing the right side, the left side. If you feel like they're not equally balanced, just be aware of that. For some people who have a longer leg on one side or the other. When they walk, the pelvis is tilted. So here's a way to come back and reestablish that natural balance that we think is beneficial. But now the spine is level. Now the pelvis is level, and the spine is able to come out of the sacrum in a straight line. Notice what's happening with your feet. Are your feet on the floor? Are your knees falling inward, falling outward? If the knees are falling outward, maybe walk the feet apart so that now the bones coming out of the thighs and the knees and the lower legs are coming right into the ankles. If the knees are falling inward, walk the feet together so now you have a nice straight line. And this is not a forced thing. Like for me to do this, I've got to hold my knees together so I'm more comfortable here. And when you do that, notice how that takes you much more present to you're sitting on your sitting bones. When I do this, I kind of rock back and I lose that awareness of my sitting bones. When I take my knees apart, I can really feel my sitting bones. Now notice the whole rest of the spine. How much more integrated you feel with this sitting. If you are on a chair and your knees are off of the chair because the chair is so low, you want to put something under your thighs to be able to sit evenly on the seat of the chair. If, on the other hand, the chair is so high that your heels are off the ground to touch the floor, you want to put something under your heels so the feet are flat on the floor. Now, noticing your form, noticing the alignment of your body, of your head and shoulders and hips. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see how I make some movements to bring the spine into extension, where now I'm flattening the curves of the spine. When I round my back, my lumbar spine comes into extension. When I lift my chest but keep the back rounded, I've allowed that lumbar spine to flatten that curve. When I lift my chest, the thoracic spine has gone toward the front of my body. Open the front of the vertebra on the thoracic spine. When I tuck my chin, bring my neck back, now I've flattened my cervical spine. So just give that a try. Relax the body, let the low back round. But now, when you do that, pull in the belly strongly, intensify that contraction. So you're pulling in the belly to lift the low back round. Then lift the chest, but keep that contraction, lift the chest. It's a very powerful move. So when you pull in the belly to round the lumbar spine, keep that contraction, that's below the belly button, but lift the chest. Now tuck the chin and take the very powerful form. Give it a few tries. Pull in the belly, tuck the pelvis, round the back, lift the chest, tuck the chin, take the neck back, gaze right ahead, and maintain that contraction. Low belly is working, middle of your back is working to lift the chest. Chin is tucking, but it's the back of the muscles on the back of the neck to pull the neck back, and that moves all the way down the back of the spine. Sit back and relax, and we'll talk a little bit about why we do extensions in a more subtle way. Sometimes it's called a more esoteric way to begin to move the energy through the body. One of the practices of yoga that is called awakening Kundalini is associated with a series of postures that are called Mahamudra, where now you can pull the belly in, create that contraction, begin to pull the energy up as you inhale, flattening the thoracic spine, bringing it up towards your heart, tucking the chin, and kind of binding that wonderful energy there as you pull the chin back. It's a practice that requires great skill, but it's a very healing practice and begins to take you to the more subtle levels of your physical practice of asana, hatha yoga. But we also use it just for good health, making the spine supple, making these muscles work that stabilize the core. So I want to work on those a little bit. Let the belly expand, pull the belly in. You want to get that contraction. I want to feel this below the belly button. Expansion, pull in. Real lots of movement. You want that deep contraction below your belly button. That is the foundation for good abdominal strength. Use our breath for this. Notice what happens as you do that. Suddenly, a lot of energy comes into the head. And then relax and let the breath return to its normal form. Now for myself, because I do that a lot, there's so much brightness now in my thoracic region. This is the region of the heart. Not the anatomical heart, but the heart that is the very center of my awareness of self. For example, when you feel deep emotions, you feel them, not the heart beating, but this place here where something really powerful happens. Great sorrow. Sometimes you feel like this is broken or breaking, it's so painful. That's the heart we're talking about. The heart that is the very center of my deep engagement with the material world. My family, my culture, those things that matter to me a great deal. We want to be able to investigate that powerful energy associated with that. So extensions enable us to do that. Define those muscles, enable us to bring the body to that very powerful extension. Something happens as I pick up my chest. Something opens in the back of my throat that is filled with joy. And I can feel that delight that comes from that practice, and allowing that energy to flow from my deep core seat of energy through the different chakras to the heart, and begin to flood my awareness within my being with the delight that comes with this practice. We're going to do this same movement but standing. But I kind of want to get ready for that. We're going to move the body a little bit, just rocking forward. Really want to feel your body coming forward. Allow the legs to come apart to get more opening on the inner thighs. This is a forward bend. You want to keep the body strong. Try not to round the back. Try to keep the heart reaching out across the room. You can tuck the chin if you want, but then bring the neck back to make the front of the spine long. And getting more opening between the thighs as you rock forward. Feel these movements to get that. Making the back of the body stretch a little bit. And then coming back to shift the weight to one side so I can take that foot back, and I want to come on my toe and push that leg back as far as I can. If I want to come forward, so I can actually begin to pick my hips up off the ground as I straighten that leg. I'm on my toe to really feel the power of this form. My hands are pushing down to keep my chest lifted. And I want that hip to open as I push the heel back. And shifting to the other side to get that. I'm using the chair for support. For those who have difficulty balancing, you can all do this. But now I can still make this body work as I get less and less able to be safe when I'm standing on my feet. And I'm talking about myself here. So one more time on each side. But now come to the top of the foot. I'm pointing the toe back because I want that ankle to open. I take the knee down and reach back. Very different. So we did this originally with this to make this hip open, to make this hip strong. But now I take my knee down, point the toe back, and lean back to open the rest of the chest. I want that really leaning back and stretching the whole front of my body, top of my foot, top of my thigh, over my chest. And reaching the elbow, I'm going to hold this for a few moments. Fingers are extending. Body's very alive here to feel that Inhaling, making more breath coming in, pull the belly in as you exhale. Right away, this becomes a very powerful form to get that lengthening on the side of the body that you're using. And then release that and go to the other side. The first time we came onto the toe and made the leg straight, make the real work again to bring some power in as I picked up. But now this is different. I come on the top of my foot, point it back, lead back, make the body long. Top of the ankle is opening, thighs opening, leading back and pushing with my arm. Fingers are alive. To really find now the breath coming in. Pushing my knee down to get that lengthening. And then releasing. And knees wide again, coming forward. Stretching the back of the body. One more time. And then standing up. I'm going to move the chair so I'm going to be sideways to you so you can see what I'm doing as I bring the spine into extension in a posture that we call Samasthiti, equal standing. I'm going to be facing away from you. But I'm going to bring my toes together. Heels are slightly apart, and my pelvis is tucking. That's that contraction. Flattening on my lumbar spine, I want to feel this contraction deep below core. Then I lift my chest. Then I tuck my chin, take it back, open my arms, shoulders come together, and here I am in Samasthiti. So pull the belly in, lift the chest, tuck the chin, take the neck back, keep that contraction, and extension in the form called Samasthiti. It's a meditative form. The arms are now soft. I just kind of hang out here. I keep that contraction. I keep the flattening in my thoracic spine as I lift the chest, tuck the chin, taking the neck back, and now feeling my body moving on my feet. Pick the toes up, spread them wide apart, reach out with them, reach them out, and reach down to grab the mat and pull it back and lift your arches. Pick the toes up again, wide toes, pushing the big knuckle of the big toes down. The toes come down very carefully to grab the mat, pull it back, lift your arch, and push the arch down when you keep the foot alive. Then again, tuck the core, chest lifts, chin tucks. Open the chest, but then let the arms be soft. And again, feeling the body now in this very firm form called Samasthiti. Be aware of the bottom of your feet. Be aware of the weight of your body on your feet. As the body moves, it is impossible for the body to be perfectly still. Be aware of that. This allows us to understand that we are on this planet. It is moving. It's moving underneath us. We're in a nature of impermanence. We cannot be still for a moment. Energy is always moving. You can feel that powerfully here as I come in this very strong form, Samasthiti. Relax, the body returns to its normal form. See how differently Samasthiti is from your normal standing form. So go ahead and sit back down for just a moment. As we come back to the form where we began, and see how you feel. Noticing the breath, noticing the natural form that you came into. I would expect there's an awareness that is present now that was not there when you began the class. These practices allow us to understand how asana, how the practice of yoga, awakens us to our bodies. In the last few years, the medical profession has begun to appreciate the value of increased awareness of how our body feels in diagnosing a condition. It's an aspect of yoga practice that enables you to stay more healthy, being able to describe more accurately, and respond to treatment more accurately, seeing how my body feels. Now we're going to go into a Shavasana. I'm going to be lying down, so I want you to go ahead and just kind of get rid of your chair. Hopefully you have something that you can lie down on. You may want to put something under the back of your head. I'm going to turn the lights down a little bit. It's often a nice thing to do. Go ahead and bring your knees up and wrap your arms around your knees and rock from side to side. The feet come down to the floor. Bring the heels together. Let the legs extend. Those heels together. Let the toes fall apart. Let your arms come down to the side of the body. Pull the shoulder blades together. Tuck the chin. And let go. Do nothing. Coming back to the practice of just observing the movement of the breath, using your ability to make the body relax, to allow the body to relax, to let your awareness relax. Allow your awareness to move around the different parts of your body. Look for tightness and let it go. This is your Shavasana. Stay there as long as you wish. I want to thank you for joining, participating in this class, and may you be well. Om.